Hello, my name is Sue Lewis and I'm working tonight with my colleague
Louise Croft.
So what we're going to be doing is running through a webinar we delivered, which is aimed specifically at parents, showing you what the post-16 choices are for your child, leaving year 11. And what we're going to be referring to is a website called Career Palette, which is a one-stop website that has all the information in one place. But we will run through all the options in some detail. Okay, so what we're going to cover is the different pathways available to students at 16, where you can go for all the information. So don't worry if you can't remember what we did tonight, it'll all be available to you. What students need to consider when they're making decisions, and that should help you then to know how you can help your young person make an informed decision. So we will be using Career Pilot or referring to it. All the information we're talking about is actually on Career Pilot. So this is a one-stop careers website. This bit is open access. Anybody in the country can use this. But because you're in one of our subscribing schools, then your young person can register and be signed in when they use the site. And that means they access all our career tools. Now, the career tools is where they can personalize the things they're particularly interested in. So they can look at lots of jobs and identify the ones they like. They'll be added in here. And all these career tools activities build their report. And they could be sharing that with you. Just to show you around the site, there's also a parent zone. So as a parent, you can always look at the open access part of the site, but you can look at the parent zone and get answers to questions that parents often ask. These are our popular tools at the top, lots of job profiles, over 800 job profiles with lots of details about how to get into jobs. You can look for courses or apprenticeship vacancies, see providers near you, plot your qualifications on a ladder, and there's over 1,000 video stories, people talking about jobs or pathways they chose. This is what we call our three-stage process, and this is something we teach to the students so they can apply it whenever they make a career decision. Start with you, explore your options, plan your next steps. A lot of our resources are structured under these three sections. But they can also look at a particular pathway. So if they're already interested in vocational qualifications, they can find out all about them. So careerpalette.org.uk is where you'll go for all this information. So what does the future hold for young people? Well, in the past, maybe for all of us, careers was more of a step or a ladder. So you'd start at one step and then you'd build up to the next one. And if you were lucky, by the time you finished work, you might be really high up and towards the top of those steps. But careers of the future are going to be really different. They're going to be what we call squiggly careers because we don't quite know what's going to happen. There's been a big rise in automation. So jobs of the future might look quite different. And really, who could have anticipated COVID? And this is another little bit of a fact that comes from research. If young people are born after 2002, they're likely to live to 100 and have many different jobs and several careers, which is why they need to know how to manage careers as well as knowing what to do after year 11. So this is quite an old-fashioned photograph of a mobile phone, but I think it just illustrates the point. The invention of the mobile phone got rid of all these other technologies and took quite a few jobs. Things had to adapt, and that is happening more and more. If you think about your phone now, it's probably potentially replaced the cinema and various other things as well. So young people need to know where the jobs are for the future. And these are 4 sectors that are predicted to grow. There will be others too, but these are the 4 main ones I mentioned now. IT and digital, medical science and care, engineering and construction, and environmental. Now, we try to get across to young people why careers is so important and what they could be doing to manage their careers. And to help them with that, we've got a 3-minute animated video, which is available on our homepage. And in that video, we just put across some of the key things they can be doing now to manage their careers. Knowing themselves, what their motivations, interests, and values are, doing stuff to build their CV and their skills, knowing all their options, and then using all the available support. And then what we do is show them how Career Palette can help them do that. So for example, knowing yourself, we've got a whole section starting with you. And in this section, lots of activities, quizzes to help students think about what might be important to them and to find out more about themselves so they can match themselves to jobs and careers of the future. I'm just going to show you a few so you get an idea about what's in the site. So we've got something called quizzes to get started and a job sector quiz where they can identify from 50 pictures which they would like to do in a work situation and get matched to sectors that might offer those opportunities. So it's a great way to start exploring sectors and get to see loads of job profiles, lots of things they would never have thought of before. So it can be quite inspirational to do this and see where your results might lead. You can also start with a subject. So if a student's got a subject they're really passionate about, they can click on that and then they'll have ideas of jobs, courses, apprenticeships, vocational courses at colleges. So just to give them ideas about where a particular subject might lead. They can also do our skills map. So this is a great way for students to find out what skills they've already got. So we ask them questions about what they've done, their life, their learning. If they're post 16, it might be about work as well. And for everything they tick, we show them more skills that activity's given them. And all those results are put into the skills profile. So for this student, teamwork, they've got 5 examples of their teamwork skills generated through the quiz, but they can keep adding their own. So they could put in any activity, babysitting, being in a team, and they'll say, what skills did this give you? And they will be matched in here as well, now bank. And they can use them later when they come to apply. Another nice thing you could do is actually compare your skills with the skills required in a job. So you could put in the name of a job, doctor, plumber, nurse, and it'll show you the skills that job requires, and you see your own skills alongside it. So it's a great way for students to start thinking, well, what skills do I need to build up if I'm really interested in this job? The other way they could start is by thinking about what's important to them, their values, what fires them up. Because there's lots of research to show if you know what fires you up, you can look for a career that would actually fit with that, and then you'll be more motivated and interested in that particular work and be more satisfied generally. So if, for example, you want to be creative in your working life, then you get ideas of jobs where there will be opportunities to do that, and also some additional information like how you could use that interest, that passion, when you're actually promoting yourself. What skills could you talk about? So multiple ways to get started. Also, in terms of the video, the second thing we talk about is doing stuff. And we know for year 11 students, they need to be focusing on their GCSE and their BTECs, but they might be doing other things, either virtually or face-to-face now. And our message always is don't drop them, because look, these look good in your CV and might be the difference between you and somebody else who hasn't got a lot of things to talk about apart from qualifications. So number 3, know all your options. This is the big focus of this webinar, but just to show you where you can get information about that on Career Pilot, a whole section called Explore Your Options. You can look at the choices by age, choices 16, which we'll be focusing on through this session, job profiles, courses, apprenticeship vacancies, lots of different ways into getting the detail of what's available. Just going to show you quickly our job section, because this is a very popular part of the site. You could put in the name of a job, or you could drill down to a sector. You can also start with a subject and start with your values and the job quiz from here as well. But if you start with a sector, you'll see all our sectors, and then you can drill down to an actual set of jobs. So in this case, I've searched for animal. I've got all the jobs related to animal. And I can see at a glance the salary and the different jobs. And then I click on any of those and I get a whole load more information. How much am I going to earn? Is this going to grow in the future? But also lots of information about entry requirements. And this will tell you what pathways that are available for this particular job. Also gives you information about how many people are currently working in this job and shows live vacancies. If you're in year 9, you might not be interested in live vacancies, but it'd be interesting to know what might be out there and get a feel for how jobs are presented and the sort of salary they offer and what they ask for. So this is people working currently in this job by region. So this is an animal care worker. So looking at this, you think, well, if it's the Northeast or Northern Ireland, maybe there's not so many opportunities. But for us, fortunately, the Southwest and the Southeast have quite a lot of opportunities. And also, as I said, you can see live vacancies. Students can also look at courses and apprenticeships. For example, they can look at apprenticeship vacancies and put in what they're particularly interested in. I put in engineering, manufacturing, and how far they're prepared to travel. And then they get a short list of all the available apprenticeships right now, and they can click to get more detail. They can actually see where they are in relation to where they live. if they signed in. And you can look at the detail of these, and you can go off and apply through the gov.uk website. Throughout Career Pilot, young people can add whatever they're interested in to their career tools. So for example, where there's a plus sign, they can add that in, and that will help build their careers report. So the report for students, there's a dashboard which has got a quick summary from the different parts of career tools, or they could view the full report, which could be quite detailed if they've done all the career tools. So that might be something you want to ask them to have a look at, so you know exactly what they're interested in. So we're going to focus now on know all your options. So Louise is going to take over and give you the detail of the different pathways available to young people at the end of year 11.
Okay, everyone. So thinking about what your child needs to consider when they're making this decision, there's a few things that come to mind. And the most important place to start usually is what are they good at and what grades they're likely to get, because that will open certain doors to certain courses depending on if they get grade 4s or not, especially in English and maths, where they're often a requirement for specific courses at college or school. But we'll go through that shortly. So also they might want to think about, are they going to continue with existing subjects, or are they interested in some new subjects, maybe related to a particular job they're interested in? Other things that are really important to consider are sort of how they like to learn and be assessed, because up till now they haven't really had any choice on GCSEs, and it's mainly they're assessed by exams. But in some of the courses that you can take that are vocational courses at school or college, some of those courses are assessed by coursework. Or if you do an apprenticeship, it might be assessed by something you're doing on the job. So there are different ways of assessment and success. So maybe look at how your young people like to learn as well. Now, some careers like medicine and veterinary have very, very specific entry requirements. So they need to do very specific courses post 16. So it'd be worth checking out, as Sue said, the job profiles on Career Pilot, so you can see the entry requirements and actually what subjects you need to do next to get into those jobs if you're interested. But obviously, if you don't know what you want to do, as we said, there's going to be loads of different careers in the future that you could be doing. And why not start with something you like, and so you can get good grades in it. So you don't necessarily have to know exactly where you're heading, as long as you're happy with what you're doing next. And as we said, there are lots of different routes to lots and lots of different jobs. And lots of routes into the same job too. So so bear those things in mind. So we're going to be looking now at the different routes, the different pathways your son or daughter can take for post 16. So there's three main routes. So there's an academic route, a vocational route, which is like job-related courses, and also a work-based route, which tends to be through apprenticeships if you're a young person. And there are 6 different levels in terms of qualifications, and your sons and daughters will currently be either doing a level 1 type of qualification or a level 2. So they'll be either aiming for GCSE grades 1 to 3 at the end of this year, or 5 GCSEs at grade 4 to 9. And that will affect what they can do next. So for example, if they're expecting GCSEs mainly grades 1 to 3, they'd be looking at doing a level 2 course, maybe at college, or a level 2 apprenticeship, and probably retaking maths and English if they haven't got those alongside. And many of you will be in the situation where you're thinking of level 3 qualifications, because you'll have already achieved level 2. And the main options are sort of A-level type routes, BTECs and T-levels for your vocational courses, or an advanced apprenticeship. And we'll be coming on to those in more detail. But whichever one you take, there's always the option to move up and to work up towards getting a higher level qualification, such as a degree, through whatever route you do at level 3, which is good news. So that's what we're focusing on tonight, is level 2 and level 3 qualifications predominantly. Okay, got a quiz question. Obviously, you're not here to take part, but hopefully you can answer at home. So looking at routes for jobs, it used to be that there were very, very narrow routes into jobs, but these days things have been opened up and there's lots of different routes into professional jobs. So let's have a look at some professional jobs. So here's one, nurse. Do we think that you can get into that through a degree, or is it an apprenticeship? Actually, the answer is you can do a degree and an apprenticeship in nursing, and the apprenticeship route is now very popular, as popular probably as the full-time degree route. The other one was dentistry. Obviously, what do we think about that one? That one has traditionally been a degree route, a 5-year degree, and it's still a degree route. You cannot currently get into this through an apprenticeship, although there are other dental roles that you can through an apprenticeship, but not dentistry. And then a very popular area, law for young people, training to be a solicitor. You can actually do a degree in law, but you can also work up from 18 through a series of different apprenticeships to being a fully qualified solicitor without any debts by the time you're in your early 20s. So it's worth, if you've got a job in mind, explore all the different routes in. And on Career Pilot, we actually have got a link to the A to Z of apprenticeships, and there are over 600 different types of apprenticeships you can do now at lots of different levels, and they show you, if you go on there, all the different progression routes as well from those levels where you can go. And some brand new ones just in are forestry manager, which obviously we've got to expand our forests quite a lot at the moment. And I also saw one which I thought would suit people who like criminology, which was to do with antisocial behaviour and creating safe environments in our town, which was a level 4 apprenticeship. So you could potentially go on to that after you've done a level 3 qualification. So worth exploring what's out there. But they can be competitive because people of any age can get them, and sometimes they are, you might find that you have to get into the organisation to be offered the apprenticeship. So it might not appear on a vacancy, and they might be looking internally to give someone that opportunity. So check those. Okay, so we're going to be going through the 3 main options, the options and what kinds of qualifications they offer. So sixth form college, further education colleges, and apprenticeships. 2 of those are obviously education based, and 1 is more of a work based pathway. Okay, so let's have a look at the qualifications that are offered in a sixth form college. So predominantly academic qualifications are offered. So that could be your A levels. Some schools are still offering AS levels, which are about half an A level, but many schools aren't anymore. You might be offered the opportunity to do something like an extended project qualification, which is actually really good preparation if you're thinking about going to a competitive university, because you get to choose your own research project and then you can talk about it in your personal statement. So that can be very popular. And lots of schools now are offering level 3 core maths to take alongside any humanities A or social science A levels to bolster those math skills. We think that's a good idea because in the future, many jobs will involve some kind of maths, data or statistics. So definitely encourage you to look at that if you're doing humanities. The other courses that are often offered by sixth forms, but by no means all of them, is vocational qualifications. And these are often things like BTECs, OCRs, University Arts London courses for the arts courses, and something called Cambridge Technicals. And we'll go into what those are shortly. The other things you'll get obviously from a sixth form college is a range of extracurricular activities, which could include like year 12 work experience. If you want to do something like dentistry, you might be invited to join the medical society, which will provide you with sort of more work experience and help with getting into medicine. And there'll also be opportunities to gain other leadership roles or qualifications like Duke of Edinburgh, which obviously look really good on your CV. Okay, so moving on to get a bit more information about A levels. A levels are still the most popular option for young people. I think over 85% of young people, 16 to 18, take A levels. Normally you do 3 subjects, but sometimes people are offered the opportunity to take 4, depending on how able you are and whether or not you can manage it. Sometimes it works well, for example, if you're doing maths, to take further maths alongside, and it's not much extra work. If you've got an aptitude for that subject. And you may also get the opportunity to do an extended project, as I mentioned just now. Both A levels and extended project qualifications carry UCAS points, so they're very good, these subjects, if you want to go on to university, but they can also lead on to apprenticeships and work. I'd say more 18-year-olds these days are considering that route too. In terms of the entry requirements, the minimum is usually 5 GCSEs grade 4 and above, including English and maths. But generally, if you're going to take a particular subject, they might insist that you need a specific grade at GCSE to be able to do that. So, for example, to do maths A level, it's quite common to be able to have at least a grade 7 at GCSE. And the same with, say, A level psychology, you'd be expected to have like maybe a science at grade 5 or above. So do check, and each sixth form has different requirements. So each sixth form has different courses and they have different requirements. So please check their websites for more information. Now, some schools, but not all, offer vocational qualifications in the sixth form. And these generally are called applied general qualifications because they introduce you to a broad vocational area, say like health and social care, but they're still quite general and they're academic too. So although you get some work placements, usually a couple of weeks, they are still mainly classroom based. And they also cover a range of areas. So if it was health and social care, it could lead you into nursing or social work or care or psychology. It's quite broad. And these could be called BTECs or Cambridge Technicals. These can lead on to university, but they can also lead on to apprenticeships or work too. And the other thing is you can combine them with A levels. So some schools offer you the opportunity to, say, for example, do health and social care BTEC alongside, say, a psychology A level or biology A level, which would actually be quite a nice package if you're applying to university. But some schools, it's possible to take 2 or 3 BTECs. So you might find someone's doing a BTEC media and business alongside an A level. So there can be like a combination. They often have lower entry requirements than A levels, only normally requiring 4 GCSEs grade 4 and above, including English and maths. Though some schools may give you the opportunity to take one of these courses whilst retaking maths or English, but you do need to check that that would be an option at the school that you're interested in. Okay, so FE college is a totally different thing. So further education colleges usually offer the opportunity to retake maths and English, which is great, alongside all those courses, but offer over 30 different vocational subject areas usually. So bigger range of courses, everything from mechanics to animal care to engineering and hairdressing. So very, very broad range. And they also offer the applied general qualifications like schools, but the main difference is you just select one. So if you know you want to do performing arts or you know you want to do media, you could do the equivalent of 3 A levels on a full-time applied general qualification course, probably a BTEC or a Cambridge Technical. So that's really good if you know you want to do that one area. They generally are assessed by coursework and they do work placements, and they're much more about projects, and there's very few exams. So if you like learning like that and you know what you want to do in a broad way, they could be useful for you. They tend to lead on to university, but you can also go on to an apprenticeship. Maybe you're somebody who really knows exactly what you want to do. Then you might prefer to do a practical or technical qualification. So say you know you want to train to be a beauty therapist or a hairdresser or a plumber or a carpenter. Well, colleges offer very, very practical qualifications in those specific areas. And the great thing is they offer them at level 1 and level 2. So you don't necessarily need any specific grades to get into those, which can really be good for people who are practical learners. So, for example, I went to look at a construction course the other day at level 1, and the whole part of that course was trying out lots of different construction trades to see the one you liked before you could then go on to do an apprenticeship at level 2. So if you know what you want to do, go and check out and see if there's a course that would enable you to do that. You might also find there's an apprenticeship in it too, but we'll come on to that shortly. There are some new qualifications that are coming into colleges, and you might have heard about these already or seen them advertised. They're called technical levels and pre-T levels, and I'm going to be talking about those in more depth in just a second. And the last option at college is traineeships. These are particularly good if you've got a young person who wants to go out to work, but maybe not quite sure what they want to do and maybe lacks a bit of confidence, and maybe needs to improve their maths and English skills to be able to get recruited onto an apprenticeship. So they're usually offered by colleges or training companies, and they are aimed at 16 to 24-year-olds, so they're quite broad, and they pretty much guarantee you work experience in maths and English. So very good if you're not sure exactly what you want to do or you need a bit more support with getting into work. Excuse me. Now, T levels, I mentioned those just now. As you can see from this diagram, they are very practical compared to A levels and other vocational courses, but not quite as practical as an apprenticeship, which is pretty much 80% of work. A T level is 80% in the classroom, but 20% in the workplace. So this is great if you have a clear idea of what you want to do, because you can actually train for a specific job. So, for example, within a health care T level, there might be a strand called nursing, and you could actually focus in specifically on nursing if you wanted to. Sometimes that happens in the second year of a course. It's a 2-year course, so it might be more generic in the first year and then specialising. But each sector is different for T level. So digital and health and social care will be quite different, and different colleges run it in different ways. So you have to check it out. But basically, they've been created by a business, so they're meant to provide the skills that industry are looking for. So it's meant to be up to the minute, current, and developing your confidence by taking you out into the workplace for up to 60 days on different work placements, and then giving you everything you need in the classroom to be able to pass exams, coursework, and practical. So it's graded by pass, merit, distinction, and distinction star, and it also carries UCAS points. So it's supposed to be able to take you to university as well. But when I was speaking to the colleges the other day, they did say that it had a big focus on a push towards apprenticeships. So it might suit a young person, for example, who's done a work placement with a big company, say like Babcock Engineering, and then wants to go on to their degree apprenticeship. So it would go from a level 3 onto a level 4 or a level 5. So particularly good qualification if you've got a clear idea of where you want to go. So these are all the different areas that you can do a T level in. And if you go to talk to a college on an open day, they'd be happy to give you more information about it and discuss the vocational courses to see whether you'd be more suited to an applied general qualification or a T level. As you can see, there's lots of courses coming on board by 2022. So I think we've got 7 at the moment, and they're looking at introducing a whole load more in 2022. So eventually the idea is there'll be a T level for every sector. Now, if you're not quite ready for T levels yet because you haven't got maths and English at GCSE grade 4 and above, and you do need at least 4 GCSEs grade 4 and above to do a T level, you might be offered a place on a level 2 course, a pre-T level called a transition programme, and that's 1 year full time. And on this course, you would be doing a level 2 vocational course in the area you want to do, so like business, and also your maths and English skills. So you'd be able to retake GCSEs. But there would also be an emphasis on trying to develop your work readiness by taking you out on work placements and trying to build up your confidence, so you're ready to do the T level the year after. Obviously, this T level prep leads on to T levels. Okay, so the final option that young people can choose is an apprenticeship. And this is very popular, but you can do one at any age. And the only thing I would say is that sometimes people are in a hurry to get onto apprenticeships, but actually there are some apprenticeships where they want you to have level 3 qualifications. So that might be, say, in finance or science. You know, if you want to do like a lab science apprenticeship, they might say, oh, you know, actually we're offering you a higher apprenticeship. We want you to start this course with A levels or a level 3 applied general. So check, if you've got a career in mind, what level they want you to start at and what qualifications they require already. In terms of apprenticeships, though, the main thing that young people like about them is you get paid. So you can earn at least £159 a week, but it could be more. And obviously you're learning on the job. 80% of the time you're at work and 20% of the time you're on block release at college or maybe with a training provider. The main thing is, of course, is you do need to find one, like finding a job. So sometimes they might not be available in your area, or you might have to travel for one, or you've actually got to put in applications and interviews to get one. And as I said just now, you might need to start at a lower. You might need to look at what level you need to start at. In terms of people think because they've got a level 2 qualification like GCSEs, they automatically start on an advanced apprenticeship at level 3. But if you're doing a practical thing like bricklaying or hairdressing, you probably need to start on a level 2 because you need to start with the basics, like how to lay bricks or how to hold a pair of scissors. So you might need to start at the same or a lower level. So check out the job you're interested in and see what level you need to start at. But whatever level you start at, you can keep working up, remember, and there are lots of opportunities to do higher and degree apprenticeships at college and universities. So that's good news. So on Career Pilot, we've got this qualifications ladder, and you can have a look at the qualifications, what level you're on, what level you're looking to go on next, and then drill down and find out more about those subjects that I've mentioned, those things I've mentioned, like applied general qualifications and T levels. You can click on those and go in, and it will give you more information about the actual qualification. So the main thing to say next in terms of how to manage your career is obviously to use the people around you to help you with making this decision. So in your school, you're likely to have a careers advisor. So if you'd like to have a one-to-one chat with somebody who's an independent, impartial expert in this area, ask to see if you can book an appointment with your careers advisor at school. Obviously, we suggest that you use your family and friends and teachers who know you well and know what you're good at and know what you like. And also, if you use that, if you parents, if you engage your sons and daughters with the Career Pilot website, that can be really effective, having somebody else there to help them look at their strengths and understand what their skills might mean in terms of where they could go next. So working together on these things can be really beneficial. So finally, these are some of the things to think about when you're choosing your options, as well as the things I included at the beginning. So just remember that your free full-time education only lasts until you're 19. So if you decide not to do A-levels or an applied general at college, if you decide you want to do that at 21, 22, it might not be possible because those courses might only be aimed at 16 to 19s, or you might have to pay for it. The government are talking about introducing lots of level 3 courses for adults at college, but currently they're not up and running, and definitely not those general ones like A-levels. So you can do an apprenticeship at any age. So sometimes, depending on what you want to do next, it can make sense to do education, then apprenticeship. It just depends on what you're looking for. Some things like the construction trades and hairdressing, it can help, of course, to get straight in there at 16 for an apprenticeship. So it all depends what you're looking for. The main thing is obviously to discuss with your son and daughter what they're thinking about doing and what they're currently interested in, and speak to the teachers to get advice too. And what we suggest you go to a range of open evenings. Some of those are face-to-face and some of them are online still, but check out and see what your colleges offer, your local colleges and sixth form colleges and sixth forms are offering. And make sure there's always a backup plan, especially if your son or daughter's a bit borderline about maths and English. You know, if they're not going to get 4 4s at GCSE, then they might need another plan, especially if that involves staying on at sixth form, because it might be that they're not offering courses for students who are doing a level 2. So you might want to look at college courses. But always make sure that you're looking at where the courses could lead, and ask the actual teachers as well, what can I do with this? Where can I go? And use Career Pilot too, as we've got lots of information about what you can study after you've done a particular subject. And parents, of course, you know, you're the main part of influencer with young people in terms of their career decisions. So, you know, having a go at Career Pilot on any of those tools, especially the skills, the career skills map that we've got on there. It's a really great way of building their confidence and their resilience, and looking at what they can do and what they can do next. So I suggest you check out the tools and help your son or daughter with making these decisions. So thanks very much for coming along today. As Sue said, we can use the Career Pilot site, as I've just mentioned, and you can log in there, and your son or daughter can log in and then use all the tools. And there is actually a parent zone as well, which exists for you. And we also have a section in there on all the frequently asked questions, like what are my choices for my child at 16, which I've covered tonight, with more information to help you. And if this has whetted your appetite to change your career maybe, or get back into learning, or do an apprenticeship even, you can check out our site for adults, which is called Life Pilot, which has lots of useful careers information on it. So thank you very much for coming along today. I hope you found it helpful, and good luck with making those post-16 choices. Thanks for coming.